Now, with the electioneering period coming to an end, businesses have resumed, albeit slowly, with business owners stating that this year's elections have been relatively better compared with previous elections, with the process being relatively more peaceful. Sector analysts on their part say that despite the period being peaceful, there could be uncertainty when it comes to businesses expanding, as they would wait to see how the new administration will work. Faisal Ahmed has more on this story.
The just concluded elections has had a lesser effect on the country's business environment compared to previous elections, where most of them stayed closed for weeks or even months. However, this time round, the post-election jitters were toned down, with businesses opening shortly after the elections. This was what the Central Business District looked like a few moments before the results for the presidential elections were announced. Most shops within the city were closed by midday. However, today, things seem to be back to normal.
Some of the businesses were closed right before the electioneering period and during the electioneering period last week, and also slightly a few days after that, there was a bit of some caution. But then, nonetheless, we've not seen the events that were there in 2017 playing out.
Small businesses, on the other hand, say that they have resumed business much faster compared to previous election periods, stating that the 2017 judgment on the presidential election results showed Kenyans that they can have faith in the justice system to resolve any election irregularities.
Picked quite fast, if we can have that trend. But there are several factors to this. Of course, we may not compare it directly from 2017 to what has happened now, because this time around we had a challenge of COVID and some other external factors like the war, the climate change and ABC, which have affected. But there was some calmness in terms of the political way of getting things done. And because of what happened in 2017, where the political players went to court and the court restored confidence that if there is a problem, they can provide a solution. I think that is the reason why now you don't see a lot of problems, because the political players feel that they can find recourse in court.
Fellow Kenyans have shown very high level of maturity. They have grown up to a level of understanding that there is life after politics. We've also come to a place of also understanding that politicians are vying for their own political ambition and missions. They are in business just like us.
Kenya's real domestic product, a measure of the economic output adjusted for inflation, has a history of slowing down during election years, with firms putting decisions on hold pending a return to normalcy on the political scene.
In the run-up to the election, it was on a contractionary level. By contraction, it was a print below 50. So that was expected. Businesses were still fighting all these issues, more so the rising cost of inputs via the inflation, and also the uncertainty that usually accompanies the electioneering period. So that's not a surprise that that particular indicator was pointing towards contraction in economic activity. But that said, we saw a flicker of optimism. There was this survey that was conducted by the Central Bank of Kenya to the effect that the CEOs were quite optimistic of the economic environment in 3 months or 4 months down the line.
Definitely this is going to have a positive impact, because then it means that we don't have to have this cycle whereby every electioneering year you have like an oscillation sort of, so that you go down, then you'll wake up, so that it can be continuity. And I think this is a very good trend that we need to build on moving forward.
During the last election in 2017, the economic growth slowed down to 3.82% from 4.21% in the year before, while in 2013, it decelerated to 3.8% from 4.57%, according to GDP figures, following the rebasing of the country's economy. The aftermath of the deadly December 2007 presidential election dispute sank growth to 0.23% in 2008 from 6.85%, while in 2002 it slowed down to 0.5% from 3.78% the year before. Faisal Ahmed, Citizen TV, Nairobi.